hero stood at the mouth of a cave where even sunlight feared to enter. Deep inside slept a creature that had blinded a king, shattered an army, and plunged an entire land into terror. To reach this place, Rustam had crossed a wasteland of death, fought monsters born of nightmare, and survived trials that would have broken ordinary men many times over. Now, only one enemy remained. This is Simple Tales. Long ago, in the days of ancient Persia, King Kay Kavus led a mighty army into the enchanted land of Mazandaran. Wise counselors begged him to turn back. Mazandaran was no ordinary kingdom. It was a realm of dark forests, hidden sorcery, and powerful divs, demons whose strength rivaled that of giants. But the king ignored every warning. At first, the campaign seemed successful. Then disaster struck. A terrible darkness descended upon the Persian army. Strange enchantments clouded the sky. Warriors stumbled in confusion. Before they could recover, the White Div, the greatest and most feared of all the demons, unleashed his magic. The king was blinded. His warriors were blinded. The army was broken and dragged away into captivity. When news reached Persia, despair spread across the land. Only one man stepped forward: Rustam, champion of champions, rider of the legendary horse Rustam, the greatest hero of his age. Without hesitation, he set out to rescue his king. The journey was merciless from the very beginning. One night, while Rustam slept beneath the open sky, a lion crept from the darkness and lunged toward him. Before the beast could strike, Raksh sprang forward. Horse and lion crashed together in a blur of teeth and claws. When the struggle ended, the lion lay dead beside the camp. The road only grew harsher. A vast desert stretched before them. The sun burned overhead. Their water ran out. Day after day they wandered across endless sand until even Rustam began to doubt they would survive. Then a wild ram appeared upon the dunes. Rather than flee, it paused and looked back. Rustam followed. The ram led them to a hidden spring where fresh water bubbled from the earth. Their lives were saved. Beyond the desert waited another horror. A dragon stalked them beneath the moonlight. Twice the monster approached while Rustam slept. Twice Raksh sensed the danger and woke his master. The third time, the dragon revealed itself completely. Its scales gleamed like armor. Its eyes burned in the darkness. Rustam seized his weapons and battled the creature beneath the stars until at last the beast fell dead upon the stones. Farther ahead, a beautiful woman welcomed him into a pleasant garden. Food appeared. Wine appeared. Music drifted through the air. Everything seemed perfect. Yet something felt wrong. When Rustam spoke the name of God, the woman's face twisted in fury. Her beauty vanished. The enchantress stood revealed as a sorceress. Moments later, she lay defeated. Her illusions scattered like smoke before the wind. Still, Rustam pressed onward. Deep within enemy territory, he captured a powerful warrior named Olad. At sword point, Olad revealed the hidden paths through Mazandaran and the location of the demon's strongholds. Guided by this knowledge, Rustam launched a sudden attack against the forces of Div, a terrible demon commander whose warriors guarded the approaches to the White Div's domain. The battle was fierce. Steel rang against steel. The air filled with cries and dust. When it ended, Div lay dead and the road ahead finally stood open. Only then did trembling guides lead Rustam toward a lonely mountain. "There," they whispered, pointing toward a black opening in the stone. "The White Div sleeps." None dared follow. Rustam entered alone. The cave swallowed all light. Cold moisture dripped from unseen ceilings. The air smelled of sulfur and ancient decay. Every step echoed through the darkness. Then he saw him. The White Div. The demon sprawled across the cavern floor like a fallen mountain. Pale muscles rippled beneath his skin. Claws curved from enormous hands. Tangles of white hair spread across the stone like roots from some monstrous tree. Each breath rumbled like distant thunder. Rustam slowly drew his sword. One strike. That was all it would take. The demon would die in his sleep. The king would be saved. The nightmare would end. For a moment, the temptation was real. No one would blame him. No one would even know. Then, Rustam lowered the blade. If victory required abandoning honor, it was not victory at all. The greatest enemy deserved to face him awake. Rustam stepped forward and shouted a challenge that shook the cavern. The White Div's eyes snapped open. A roar exploded through the mountain. The final battle had begun. The demon surged to his feet. Stone shattered beneath his weight. Rustam charged. Claws screamed across his shield, sending sparks into the darkness. The impact numbed his arm. The cave echoed with the crash of steel against monstrous strength. Again they collided. Again they broke apart. Blood stained the stone. The White Div seized Rustam and hurled him across the cavern. The hero slammed against the rock wall hard enough to drive the breath from his lungs. For an instant, the world spun around him. The demon advanced. Rustam forced himself back to his feet. He had not crossed deserts, dragons, sorcery, and war to fall here. With a roar of his own, he rushed forward. Weapons were forgotten. The struggle became something older and more primal. Hands locked, muscles strained. Hero and demon wrestled for control, while the mountain trembled around them. At last, gathering every remaining ounce of strength, Rustam lifted the White Div and hurled him crashing to the ground. Before the demon could rise, Rustam struck the final blow. The cavern fell silent. The Lord of Mazandaran was dead. Yet one final miracle remained. Ancient wisdom taught that only the blood of the White Div could cure the blindness he had inflicted. Rustam collected the blood and carried it to the imprisoned king and his warriors. As it touched their eyes, sight returned. Darkness gave way to light. Hope returned. The captives were freed. The armies of Mazandaran scattered, and Rustam returned home victorious. Only then did people speak of what he had accomplished. 7 trials had stood between him and the White Div. 7 times he had faced death. 7 times he had refused to yield. The story of Rustam reminds us that true heroism is not measured by strength alone. Many possess courage. Many can overcome an enemy. But the greatest heroes are those who refuse to abandon their principles, even when doing so would make victory easier. That is the triumph that legends remember. Thank you for joining this simple tale. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves myths, legends, and forgotten tales from around the world. Until the next one.